when driving back from Elizabethtown, North Carolina. It's about an hour and 15 minutes from where I live in Southport. The reason why I went there is because I had a homeowner that reached out to me to do some blower door testing on his house, but he couldn't find a local contractor that knew anything about envelope testing. And there's this hole between like Wilmington and Fayetteville. There's not a lot of high performance HVAC practitioners, and so he was kind of in a bind. He's doing a renovation himself, and so he's going to be doing a lot of envelope improvements. He's doing a lot of research himself, getting educated, and he just wanted to test in, and then after he's done doing all the work, he wants to test out. So he paid me to drive all the way out there, do the test, drive all the way back. I don't do that for free. And it just kind of goes to show that there is a huge need in a lot of markets for home performance HVAC contractors. And that's kind of a term that I use for the HVAC contractors that think outside the box, literally, think outside the equipment, and do things like they own blower doors, they have flow hoods, they do thermal imaging, maybe they're certified with BPI. And I've been asked several times here recently, what's the best path to get involved with that? And I'll point you towards a part on the HVAC School Symposium, the 2024 HVAC Symposium. It was actually a panel discussion, and it had some people like Dustin Cole on there, who runs a home performance HVAC company in Louisiana. I think about contractors like Jenry Garcia, especially in Florida, Stephen Raridan here in Raleigh, and there are a bunch of these guys all over the country, but there's not enough of us. And so the question is, how do you get involved where you can start diagnosing comfort problems, where you start getting those calls to do blower door testing? And it doesn't take long, from what I've found, for you to become the person that people go to. I've been in my market for about a year, and I can already see that I'm gaining traction. And I moved here not knowing anybody. So I certainly encourage you, if you're interested in turning your HVAC contracting business into more of a consultancy or doing more home performance diagnosing, I definitely encourage you to, one, start connecting with other people that do that. About a year and a half ago, as I was getting ready to start this business and looking at what my options were, I just had conversations with people like Michael Hausch. That's another one. He's in the Ohio area. Jenry Garcia, Dustin Cole, those were three guys that I was able to talk to and just see how they ran their businesses. And I run my business a little bit different than theirs, because they are still running a contracting company with employees, and so they're doing a lot of traditional HVAC work also. I am more of a consultancy at this point. It's just me. I'm not really interested in doing a big install. I will refer that out now. But I just talked to those guys and asked them, pick their brain to see how they started down that road. And I see a common thread where the basic thing that you need to do is get educated. And one of the first steps to getting educated, I think, is to pick up Allison Bale's book, A House Needs to Breathe, or Does It? Because it is a great introduction into the concepts and fundamentals of building science. It's easy enough for a homeowner to understand, so you as a contractor definitely will get a lot out of it. Now, it's not a short read, but if you're truly committed to this path, you're going to read that book. And then start consuming content from great practitioners and diagnosticians out there, like the ones I've already mentioned. I'll throw in people like Corbett Lunsford, Nate Adams, and there's a lot of people that work for blower door companies, the Energy Conservatory and Retrotech, Chris Hughes, Sam Myers. Both those guys are in the HVAC communities, and they're happy to help. I've got Sam Myers in my backyard here in Wilmington, and in fact, I'm just driving back from his house. That's kind of another reason why I'm thinking about this. So start making those connections and educating yourself. But then how do you actually find the work? Well, when I started my business, my first business about 13 years ago, I went and looked for companies that did weatherization. So in every state, there's a weatherization assistance program, or WAP, and it's for low-income housing. And there are contractors out there that weatherize houses. They air seal, they do some duct sealing, they do some insulation, and a lot of those guys are in the trenches, and they don't make a lot of money doing that, but they're committed to it, and they're really good at testing houses. And what I found is that those companies were desperate for an HVAC contractor that spoke their language, that at least was aware that the building envelope and the HVAC system have to cooperate together. And once you make those connections, they're going to start sending you work. You're going to start working together on projects, and then you've got them in your back pocket. Hopefully that they'll be willing, and they have the bandwidth and the time to go out and do diagnosing for you. And obviously they're going to charge for that, but they'll probably be more than willing to get on a job that actually has a decent profit margin on, where they can charge what they need to charge to stay in business. So making those connections. Now, I did that for 13 years, and I'll give you a little secret. I didn't do a lot of envelope testing for 13 years because they did it for me. I recognized that there was an envelope problem, and I would just turn things over to them. I would refer that entire part of it out, and I would handle the HVAC stuff. When we would work together, we would share our numbers, and it worked out great. So that symbiotic relationship between you and a home performance contractor may be all that you need. And then you can kind of learn building science at your own pace as your time and your bandwidth allows you to. So I'm running a little bit different of a business now. So now I've been learning the diagnosing process and how to use a blower door to duct tester together. I've got a thermal imaging camera now, a good one from Hike Micro, and it definitely have a couple of micromanometers also. Those are the kind of tools that you're going to want to get, and yes, it does take time to acquire those tools, but again, it's a commitment that you're going to make towards doing better work. So in summary, if you want to dip your toe in it, find out who your local weatherization assistance program contractors are, network with them, get educated with online content that's already out there, read Allison Bale's book, and then as you get more familiar with it, you may want to start doing some of that diagnosis yourself, start doing it in-house, make sure you're charging for it, but then get the tools needed to do that. But I'm going to tell you, once you learn how a building actually interacts with the mechanical systems, you can't unring that bell. That knowledge is going to stick with you, and unless you're completely unethical, you're going to get away from the model of, well, I'm just going to be selling boxes, or I'm just interested in getting the unit up and going and leaving. Once you learn actually what makes a house healthy and comfortable, then you're going to want to do more and more of that work. Then you're going to find that that's the only way that you want to do the work. You end up just doing better HVAC. So I hope for some of you contractors and technicians out there that are interested but intimidated by building science and home performance, I hope that you're not after this video. If you have any other questions, reach out to me. I will be happy to answer them as my personal time and bandwidth allows. And for now, work safe. See you next time.